G'day folks, Alex McKellar here again for another everyday track guide. Again, I say every day because I'm an everyday iRacer, not a driving instructor or a pro iRacer or anything like that. Just trying to help some folks find some time if I can. So this week we're at Road Atlanta, both for the Aussie Car League and for the official series, which is great to have them both at the same place. Really fun track. I enjoy racing here when I get the chance. It's always fun. So track temp, gave myself a bit of a break and put on a morning session. So the track temp was relatively low at 24 degrees. I think got up to a bit higher by the time I set the lap, but not by much. Also, setup for this week was the same as I've been using for a while. I had my SPO at 3. I left it at 3, which seems to be a good balance for me. However, if you're having trouble with the curbs, have a think about lowering the SPO, raising the front of the car up. So if you're someone who likes to attack the curbs, that might help you with that, keep the car more stable, and I might give that a crack in some of my practicing for this week. However, at 3, I don't have any trouble with front wing damage, which is really, really important in the skips because it will slow you down a lot. So my fastest lap was a 36.2. Historically, my fastest lap ever was just under 35. It was a 34.9 or 34.8 or something, I think. But that's obviously with draft, be back straight and everything. I think we'll get in the 35s pretty comfortably this week. But this is a good starting point as any. For now, though, let's take a look at the lap. We'll chuck some stuff up here so we can see. Now, as you know, lap always starts well before the start-finish line. So let's take a look at the lap at full speed and then we'll have a chat about it. And that was the lap. So let's go take a look and break it down a bit. All right. So as I said, 36.2 was the time. So you're in 5th gear by the time you're crossing the line here. Really important to think about as you come out of the final corner, maximizing use of the track here. This is about as far as you want to go. Any further, in fact, if you touch the grass, the real issue here is 2 things. You can, obviously, if you catch it with the outside rear tyre, you can spit yourself off to the right hand side of the track in front of oncoming traffic and into that very scary looking wall over there, and makes for a poor night out, that's for sure. The other thing that can happen is if you catch the grass here, it's very easy to invalidate by picking up a 1x. The single 1x will invalidate the lap that you're on and the lap that you're starting very, very easily. And in quality, that's a really poor outcome. So just be aware of that. Otherwise, we are heading into turn 1 at full speed. And what we're looking for is on your left here, you've got the grass ending and a paved section, which is actually the exit of the other pit lane. You're looking for that as roughly, for me, a reference point as to where I'm going to lift and look to have a short jab on the brakes to rotate the car and line myself up for what is still as yet an unseen apex on the right. Get used to unseen apexes. So I am trying to hit that apex on the right over there, but what you've seen me do is lift and brake just after the grass finishes. Okay, lift it, a short stab on the brakes, and just to get that rotation. So it's not a big braking zone or anything, and I'm down 1 gear into 4th, and I'm rolling towards that apex, and you can see I've started applying gas way back here. Ideally, you'd give it full gas from here, but I think I was a bit of a chicken. I'm about 70% maybe, and full gas before you hit the apex there. Now, the reason I say I was a bit of a chicken, there is probably another tyre width and a half on the left that I could have used, but it's a bit scary on the outside of turn 1 because if you hit that grass, it's very difficult to catch the car. It's very easy to spit off into the grass, that wall and the tyre barrier on the left there. At best, you're going to cost yourself a lot of time. So as you're attacking this apex here, just remember you can take the inside curb here, no problems, but it's really all about that initial turn in and spotting that apex very early to get a good run through there. Because it's such a fast corner, you do want to carry a lot of speed through here, and it's better not to have to it's better to retain the speed than have to catch it back up, so to speak. So just a short stab and start pointing the car at the corner. Get on the gas as early as you can. As we run up the hill, really fun sort of section here. Really fun sort of section. So we're going to crest into a chicane, essentially. A fast chicane. We're only going to go down 1 gear into 3rd. I use... you can see there's a blue sort of tent on the pergola or whatever it is on the right. I run VR, as I've said, so I seem to remember when I wasn't, there were more things more of those types of things on the right there. There was a yellow one that I used to use, but there's a blue one there now, and I tend to spot that as a rough guide as to just before that I want to start turning in, and it's really one here that you've got to build up some muscle memory, because you can see what you can't see here, which is anything, right? So it's very easy to turn in early. It's very easy to turn in late. If you turn in early, which I think I might have done here, you might have to see how I open the wheel up there, just so I don't come across to the grass on the inside. And if you're late, what you'll find you're doing is forever trying to get across to the left on the curbing on the outside up here. So it is a lot of muscle memory. It's reps in there to get the confidence, and consistency is really tough to get here. It's just patience and getting your reps up. So you can see what I'm trying to do here is ride this blue and yellow curbing. The white line here across the track, that's my reference point for when I want to stab on the brakes again and hit that apex, turn into that apex to the right hand corner that I can't see yet. All right, so as I cross that, you can see I've gone to about 50% brake, and I'm actually using the braking. I'm breaking the golden rule of not braking and turning at the same time to help me rotate the car, and you can see just how late it is that you can spot that apex. You know, you're turning in on blind faith here. So again, that reference line there is really important, because depending on the speed you're carrying and how practiced you are at it, you've got to have the confidence to turn in blind and make little micro adjustments with your wheel to point the car where you want to be. Because Ideally, where I try to be is about here across that apex curb. There's a balance. So if you have approached the corner too narrowly, like I did here, if you don't make the right adjustment, you'll end up taking too much of the inside curb because you'll turn a fraction early. If you turn into this this part here at turn 2, this left hand kink into at turn 2, if you turn in too late to that, what you'll find is you'll turn too late for the right hand turn 3 as we crest this hill on the right, and you'll push long out of it into the grass on the inside of the next part of the series of corners. So again, this is about as much curb as I like to take. And what I mean by pushing out is you push out anyway to this curbing for this next left-hander at turn 4. However, there's a real risk here. You can ride this curb a little bit, but if you be careful, because if you ride it too much, you'll hook the car, and it'll catch you up a bit and you'll have to make some adjustments, or B, even worse still, you'll actually spin on this curve. I don't know if the car actually bottoms out so much as the tyres on the inside will spin you. So just be mindful of that. Really fun series of corners to have a crack at, but it's really important that you get your reps up, get it right for you, get the timing as much as you can, because consistency is key there. Very hard to achieve. A lot of fun trying though. As we continue out of turn 4 here, I want to hug it pretty tight here because I want to get over to the left as much as I can. This next downhill section is called the Esses, and surprisingly, none of these count as a corner. So the real tricky ones at the end of this series called the Esses, called turn 5. What we're trying to do here though is basically run from here. You can see 3 curbing, 3 yellow and blue sets of curbings. All I'm trying to do when I come through here is just basically run the outside wheel, whichever one it is, across those curbs. So first key is to hug tight through turn 4 without taking too much curb. You're flat in 4th, straight out over the crest once you've taken that in 3rd, and you stay in 4th here and just ride the curbs. If you get a really good run here, or you're in behind someone's toe, you're really going to want to take 5th. My recommendation is just stay in 4th, even if you have to lift a bit because you're behind someone. It's not an overtaking opportunity, so there's no advantage in carrying a few extra Ks to complicate what is an otherwise very challenging corner. This is the corner that you're most likely to have an accident at. Either self-spin or someone else has had a spin that you're caught up in this left-hand turn 5. So as I said, this is the third of the curbings that I like to hit, and it's my reference. You see, as soon as I sort of start making contact with it is when I look to brake and turn in for turn 5. Again, braking and turning, a little bit counterintuitive, but for me it's all about here just rotating the car. It's not an actual braking zone. I do drop down into 3rd gear, however, and my goal here is to kiss this curb, and this is why I say find the spring perch offset that's right for you. For me it's 3. That lifts the car up enough to ride this. If I really wanted to attack it anymore, I'd think about lowering it to 0, which will lift the front of the car a bit more. But certainly even with this sort of aggression on the curbs, there's no wing damage. So I'm looking to ride this curve and get on. You can see I'm getting on full gas. I'm committing to full gas by the time I hit that apex. So there is a decent length straight after this. It's not a massive straight, but I do want to get on the gas as soon as I can whilst I'm carrying maximum speed. You can take this in 4th, but at this track this time round, I'm finding that the lower gear at a couple of corners helps with a little bit with stability, rotation, and the ability to get on the gas nice and early. So we're going to carry as much speed as we can out onto this quite a wide yellow and blue curbing here. You can see the sand on the right. You can use all of this exit curbing. You can kiss the sand just a smidge, but don't have to risk it if you got a good run through here. It is danger out there on the ride, both in terms of picking up a 1X and invalidating your lap, but also because it's quite dangerous. There's a wall that you lose grip and you're quite easy to kiss the wall on the outside there. Very easy to lose the car through this section. It's important to make sure you're confident that you're getting on the gas here. Your car is settled enough. You can see I do what I typically do is carry about half throttle just to keep some stability in the car as I ride the curbing, but then commit to gas when I'm confident the car's settled enough. All right. Then we've got this shortish straight. Historically, I've sat in fourth on this straight, but I seem to be able to grab fifth this time around, which is good. 200 board on the left there is my reference for braking, and you'll see there's a line just ahead of us here on the pavement, on the asphalt, sorry. That's a good reference. So early on in your stint, you're probably looking to brake at around that, but later on in your stint, you'll see there's three. There's another set of another white line just ahead of it, and I'm looking to sort of brake about halfway through these dotted hashed white lines here. Jump down 2 gears into third, and you see that third set of white lines across the track I've already turned in. So I'm really braking probably about here early on in the stint, a couple of car lengths further later on in the stint, and using that second set of white hash marks across the circuit as a decent turn-in reference. So it's about, what's that, 50% braking down into third gear. As we trail off, we add steering input and kiss that apex. But you can see, bang, full throttle as we're approaching the apex. Stay in third gear and on to the most important corner on this track at turn 7. It's also, as you can see, or you can't see, another blind cresting apex, which makes it all the more challenging. Absolutely the most important corner on this track at turn 7, because it has the massive long straight afterwards and also leads to the primary passing opportunity there at turn 10A and B, that final chicane. So what I tend to do through here, I've carried the speed, I'm in third gear through turn 6. I'm preparing for what I want to be my best corner. I let the car drift out to the curbing, and when I hit the curbing, this is me, that's usually my reference for when I want to start braking. As I'm approaching that curbing though, I'm desperately lifting my eyes up and searching for that apex, because I'm going to turn in pretty much on blind faith like I did at turn 3, the previous cresting chicane. So braking, desperately trying to spot my apex. Again, it's an uphill braking zone, so 50%, and you can see it's not until sort of here that I'm even getting a hint of it, right? And I'm turning in. This season, I'm going down to first gear. Previous seasons, I have preferred second gear, but I'm finding again these lower gears are allowing me to get on the gas a bit earlier. So you can see as I've guessed, or had those reps, so I get the good feeling about where the apex is, I've started tapering off and the brake and adding more steering input. Drop down to first gear and trying to nail that apex. But you can look here, because I've dropped down to first, how early I've been able to commit to full throttle, right? The full throttle from here all the way down that back straight into the final chicane. That's the reason I try to grab. I'm trying first gear this time around. Otherwise, if you stay in second, you might grab. You might be able to carry a little bit more speed and offset the engine braking that occurs with going down to first gear. But you'll be a little bit later on the accelerator. So it's a balancing act there, a bit of give and take. You'll find what works for you. You can see. You can probably take a tie with more of apex curbing there, but I really want a short shift. You can see that blip of clutch is where I've grabbed second gear. I reckon there's probably, if you are carrying second gear, you're probably doing about 90 k's on the apex. So you're sacrificing a bit of apex speed for better acceleration out of corner. That's my thinking on it anyway. And then all the way out to the curbing on the outside here, you can probably take another, maybe a tyre width, half a tyre width here, but the grass on the outside is absolutely perilous. Will spit you across. If best case scenario, it costs you time again. Worst case scenario, it spits you across to the right, potentially in front of oncoming traffic. So from here, we're up this very long straight, but I pause here just briefly. It's a very long straight. As you're winding down the laps, or perhaps in the middle when you're in the middle of a battle, it's here you've probably wanted to already make your decision about how you're going to run this straight and actually finish your lap. So picture the scenario, it's the last lap of the race. Am I first in the pack? Am I third in the pack? Where am I, right? It's here where you're going to be making decisions about how you want to attack that final chicane if you haven't already, because it's important. There are multiple lines through that final chicane. 2 and 3 wide is not uncommon. 2 is particularly common, and it's the best passing opportunity there. So you have a think at this point of the track, if you haven't already, do I want to be on the inside or the outside? And try and make that your plan going in, because you need a plan through 10A and 10B as to how you want to get to the line the quickest before your opponent. All right, so let's run up this straight. Very, very long straight. Think about shortening your track distance. That's about the only piece of advice there. And of course, where you're going to position your car. All right, so we're coming down into 10A and 10B, the primary passing opportunity after the longest straight. So again, I will say practice multiple lines here. The inside, you can get to the line first. If you're attacking or defending, similarly on the outside, you can get to the line first. So it's important that you maximize your chance of doing so. By repetition and practicing those lines, preferably with someone. If you've got a mate that can help you, even better. So 100 marker, and more importantly, the white dashing line across the circuit is about my braking reference for this corner. As I approach that, not only am I applying the brakes, but I'm spotting the apex on the left here. By the third hashed white line, or around this entry curbing on the outside of the track, you can see it's a very heavy braking zone, I should say as well, about 90%. I'm starting to think about turning in that third set of white lines, and then the curbing on the outside. You can see I've used a fair bit of that curbing on the outside to open up the corner. Now again, I have been taking this corner historically in third. I'm dropping, as you can see, down to second to help with rotation and to get on the gas early too, because once you hit the gas here, as you can see, I've done it. I'm on full throttle before the apex, right? So it's a decent effort about here, because it's full throttle from here to the line. So the earlier you get on the throttle, the more speed you're going to have at the final through final turn 12 and the finish line. So the apex here you can take a fair bit of. So once you've spotted your apex way back in the braking zone, you're looking to maximize, and you can see here I've taken a fair bit of it. The center of the car again is roughly on the center of the apex curbing. A tyre width more than this and you're picking up a 1x, tyre width and a half, you've probably got to slow down. So again, I'm going to short shift. I'm going to grab third gear in between the apexes, and again I'm just lining up here to cross the apex with the center of the car just in line with the inside of the apex curbing. Any more than this, and again you'll pick up a 1x and invalidate your lap. But you can see I'm not lifting, I'm just using steering input and letting the car track out all the way on the exit curbing here in third gear, and then we're up and over the hill. So I tend to cut across here to the right to shorten my track distance. Now track distance again is an important topic. So you can see this is essentially a standard lap for me. There's a compromise here between shortening your track distance by hugging the right versus carrying the most speed, which would sort of put you further over to the left towards the yellow and blue curbing again. So the idea here is, if I was doing a qualifying lap and I had another lap to go, I'd be further over to the left to try and maximize my speed as I cross the line and through the line to carry it through to my next lap. However, if I'm on the last lap of quali, I'm probably a car width or two over to the right to shorten my track distance, because I'm not worried about maximizing my speed past the line, because the line comes up very quickly as you exit this final turn 12. But on a standard lap, I'm kind of in between, because I want to carry some speed for the next lap, but also minimize my track distance. I come in and you can kiss this curb. Just be careful as you do. Keep nice soft hands, because as I said before, if you spit out too far, you'll grab a 1x both before and after the line for the final and the first sector of the next lap, and that'll invalidate your lap. And that, folks, is the lap. So let's say thank you for watching. Again, I do this just as an everyday driver, and I thank you all. Had some pretty good feedback over it, so I really do appreciate that. It's just a bit of fun, and like I say, hopefully it helps someone out there. Looking forward to the racing here this week, both for Aussie Car and officials, and I hope you guys have some fun with it and this has helped. Enjoy your racing, guys, and until next time, ciao for now.